So this is part two of the same video. I pressed stop by mistake. Um, so we were finishing up with number 10. So on this, the nice thing here is this actually is not even going to be a quadratic because if I subtract x squared here and here, they're going to cancel out. So I'm going to end up getting a negative x minus 1 equals 2x. I can add my x to both sides, and when I add x, I get a 3x. And I am going to get that x is equal to a negative 1/3. And that is not one of my restrictions. So that is going to be my answer. So let's finish the last ones here. This is the new ideas that we were doing. System of equations, and number 12 is the equation of a parabola. So when you're looking at these, you want to look at your x's and see if it's easy to get rid of your x's or your y's or your z's. Any of them are fine. Looking at this, my x's are reasonable to get rid of because I could use that x and multiply it by a -2 to get rid of the second one and a -3 to get rid of the third one. My y's are reasonable because my y and my negative y will automatically cancel. And if I multiply the top one by 2, it's going to cancel with the bottom. And my z's are reasonable because I can multiply either the top or the bottom equation by 3 and add it to the middle. And then multiply one of the ones with a negative z by a negative, and then I can have my z's cancel. So any of them are reasonable. I am thinking about doing my y's though, because I can just add number 1 and 2 together and my y's will cancel. And then if I times the top one by a +2, it'll cancel with the bottom. So you don't have to, but I am going to, and I'm going to write it so I remember what I'm focusing on. I'm going to eliminate y, which means I want to get an equation with an x and a z. Okay. So let's say that I number this one equation 1, equation 2, equation 3, just for reference. And again, I'm going to try to eliminate my y. So if I take equation 1, which is x plus y minus z equals 0, and I take equation 2, let me get the blue, sorry. Equation 2, which is 2x minus y plus 3z equal -4. My y's are going to automatically cancel out when I just add these two. I'm going to get a 3x. My y's are going to cancel out. I'm going to get a 2z is equal to -4. I'm going to call this one equation 4 just as a reference. Okay. So my goal is to get 3 equations and 3 variables down to 2 equations and 2 variables with the same 2 variables. So right now I have 1 equation with an x and z. I need a second equation with an x and z. So again, I'm going to be focusing on getting rid of my y's. And I think I'm going to use the top equation. But this time for that top equation, I am going to multiply it by, hold on, let me just grab this. I am going to multiply this by not a -2, a +2. Okay. And so I'm going to put that right here. So this is still equation 1. I'm going to multiply by a +2. So I get a 2x plus 2y minus 2z is equal to 0. And then I'm going to take the equation I have not used yet, which is number 3. Okay. So that's going to be a 3x minus 2y minus z equals -13. And when I add those two equations together, again, my y's cancel out. I'm going to get a 5x minus 3z equals a -13. I'm going to call this one equation 5. So I have this system. Okay. So looking at this, I have let me get my cursor here. I have this 3x and this 5x. I have a 2y and a negative 3y. So either I can try to get a 15 positive and a negative 15 and for my x's, or with my z's, I can try to get a 6 positive and negative. I'm leaning towards the 6. I'm leaning towards getting rid of my z's. So I am going to multiply this equation right here by a 3. And so that's going to give me 9x. And again, this is equation 4. I'm just rewriting it. So 9x plus 6z is equal to negative 12. And then this one over here, I'm going to multiply this one by a 2. And so for my new equation 5, I'm going to get a 10x minus 6z is equal to, when I multiply these together, I get a negative 26. So I'm going to add these together. I get 19x, my z's cancel out, is equal to a negative 38. And if I divide both sides by 19, I actually get a negative 2. So I have that my x is negative 2. Now, I still haven't solved this system here, okay? I still haven't solved this. I need to solve this for x and z. I just found my x. I still need to find my z. So when I'm doing that, I could do it into the new 4 and 5, which I wrote in red, or I can do it into my original 4 and 5. I'm thinking I'm going to do it into my original 4 or 5. And I think I'm going to do it into equation 4, the one that was 3x plus 2z equal negative 4. So I'm going to put in my x. And I'm going to get a negative 6. So when I add 6 to the other side, I'm going to get a positive 2 when I just do that math. And I'm going to divide by 2, and I get z is equal to 1. So now I did solve this system right here. Okay, I did solve that system. I got my x and my z. So now I can take that x and z and put it into one of the original top ones, either equation 1, equation 2, or equation 3. I'm trying to find my y. I'm thinking I'm going to put it into my orange equation 1. Okay, the one that I have, actually, I think I started with it being purple. So the one at the very top here, okay, this one right here, okay, that one right there. So I am going to have x plus y minus z equals 0. And again, this was equation 1. And I'm going to put in negative 2 plus y minus 1 equals 0. So that's going to be a negative 3. So if I add it, I get a positive 3. And you're going to write this as a point. X, which is negative 2, y, which is 3, z, that is 1. And that is your answer. And then on number 12, we're going to put it into this equation of a parabola. Okay, so let's say I do my -1 comma -5. And again, I'm putting that in for my x and my y. So I'm going to get -5 is equal to a times -1 squared, which is going to be just a, plus b times -1, which is a negative b, plus c. And then let me do 2 comma 1. And so I'm going to get 1 equals, and I'm putting a 2 in for my x, so a x squared. So a times 2 squared, that's going to be a 4a, plus b times 2, so that's going to be a 2b plus c. And then my last one, which is 3 comma -5, is going to be -5 is equal to, And again, I'm putting 3 in for my x. So ax squared is going to be 9a. My b times x is going to be 3b plus c. I would try to eliminate my c. And I'm thinking that I am going to use the top equation. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to use this top equation and multiply it by a -1. And so I am going to get a -5 is equal to a -a plus b minus c. And I'm going to use that equation with the purple one and then use that same equation with the orange one. So let me take the purple one, which is 1 equal 4a plus 2b plus c. Okay. And I am going to use the one that I now wrote in black, which was my original red one. So it's going to be, sorry, a -5 equals -a plus b minus c. And I'm going to add this up. And when I add this up, I end up getting -4 is equal to 3a plus 3b. Okay. And then I'm going to take my orange equation with my black one here again. Okay, with the black one here again. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to get -5 is equal to 9 plus 3b plus c. I am again going to take this one here, oops, which was my red one that I multiplied by -1. Okay. And so that was my -5 is equal to -a. Sorry, that should be a +5. I apologize, because I'm multiplying this by a negative. So this should have been a +5. So this should have been a +5. So that actually makes this nicer. Okay. That makes this nicer because this is now going to be a 6. So I could divide everything by 3 here. We'll see if we want to do that. So again, I apologize. This -1 is multiplying with this -5, and I should have gotten a +5. And that's the same here. So here, I am going to change this to a +5. Okay. Okay. So let me finish writing that. So again, that's a +5, not a -5, is equal to -a plus b minus c. I add this together and I get 0 is equal to 8a plus 4b. Okay. So I can divide both of these. I can divide this one by 3. And when I do that, I'm going to end up getting a 2 is equal to a plus b. Okay, that's kind of what I get right here. And I can divide this one by 4, but I'm thinking I'm going to divide by a -4. The reason I'm going to divide by a -4 is that's actually going to make this a -2a, which doesn't really matter, but it's going to make this 4b into a -b. And that's going to be nice because over here I have a +b and now I have a -b. So now I'm going to solve that system. So I am going to add these two equations together, and here I'm going to put this in a little box. So I'm going to be solving this system. So I have 2 is equal to a plus b after I divide it by 3. The other one is going to be 0 is equal to -2a minus b after I divide it by a -4. I add them together and I get 2 is equal to -a, which means -2 is equal to a. So I got -2 for my a. I now need to put it into one of these equations and find my b. I'm thinking this one here. So I'm going to go 2 is equal to a, which is -2 plus b. I'm going to add 2, so I get 4 is equal to b. So I solved that little system. I'm going to take those two answers and put it into either my red, my purple, or my orange equation at the top. I'm thinking maybe the red. So now I'm going to take these and go -5 is equal to my A, which is -2, minus B. So that means it's going to be a -4 plus C. So I get -5 equals -6 plus C. I add 6. I get C is equal to 1. Okay. And so remember, our goal was to come up with the equation. So our equation, I'm going to put it in this box up here, y is equal to -2x squared plus 4x plus 1. Okay. And let's take a look at these ones down here. Okay, so these both are kind of like the 11 and 12, similar idea. The difference with 13 compared to this number 11 is this had all three variables and all three equations. This one here, we have two different in each of them. So you're going to end up keeping one of them. You want to look and see which one's the easiest to get rid of. Is it easiest to get rid of a x if I have a 2x and a 3x? I'd have to get like a 6, positive and a negative. I have to multiply both equations, so maybe that's not what I want to do. If I was trying to get rid of my y's, I'd have to get rid of my y's. I'd have to get like a 10 for these, so I'd have to multiply both of the equations. So maybe I don't want to get rid of my y's. Looking at our z's, I have a negative z and a positive z. That would probably be the easiest to eliminate. So if I'm going to eliminate that, that means that I am going to keep this one. I'm going to keep that one. Okay, because that already has an equation without a z. So I'm going to keep. And then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to now try to, with these two, eliminate z. And when I do, I'm going to be left with something that has x's and y's. So let me take these two equations. So again, I'm going to call this one 1. I'll call this one 2. I'll call this one 3. So I'm going to take equation 2, and I'm going to space it, leave space for my x. 2y minus z equals 4. And equation 3, which is 3x plus z equals 17. I'm going to add those together. My z's are going to cancel like I was hoping, and I'm going to get a 3x plus 2y equals 21. And so this is going to be, let's say, equation 4. And so I'm going to use 4 with 1, and that is a system with just x and y. So let me solve that system right here. So I'm going to take 2x minus 5y equal -5, which again was equation 1. Okay. And I'm going to take equation 4, which is 3x plus 2y equal 21. And again, I'm going to solve this equation, this system. So looking at this, I'm going to have to get rid of, unfortunately, either my x's or my z's. I mean, my x's or my y's. So let's say, I think I'm just going to get rid of my y's since one of them's positive and one of them's negative. So I think I'm going to multiply this one by a positive 2 to get a 10 in front of my y, and this one by a positive 5. So the 2 is going to give me a -10. The one with the 5 is going to give me a 10. So I'm going to end up getting 4x minus 10y equals -10, and 15x plus 10y equals, and I'm going to get 105. I'm going to add these two equations together. I get a 19x is equal to, my y's cancel out, and I get a -95. And when I divide by 90, both sides by 19, I am going to get x is equal to -5. So I got my x. I still need to find my y for this one because I still have a y in the system. So I'm thinking I'm going to do it into, I'm thinking into equation 4. Okay. So I am going to do 3 times -5. Yeah, let me write it in something a little darker. So I'm going to do it into this one here. So I'm going to go 3 times -5 plus 2y equals 21. So that's going to be a -15. So I can add 15 to both sides. When I add 15, I'm going to get a 36. So my y is 18. So I got my x and I've got my y. And now I need to find my z. So I'm going to go back to either, can't go back to a number 1 because it doesn't have a z. I can either do 2 or 3. I'm thinking I'm going to do 3. Okay, I think I'm going to do 3. So I'm going to take that and put it into equation 3. Okay, this is equation 3. So into equation 3, I'm going to have 3 times my x, which is -5, plus z equals 17. So that's going to be a -15. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. So when I add 15, I get 32. And that's my z. So my point is going to be -5, comma 18, comma 32. And then our last one, number 14. And before we get to 14, I was just looking at this. I'm obviously doing this when I'm tired, so I do apologize. When I was doing my math here and I did a -10 plus 105, that should have been a positive 95. We still ended up with, nice answers and not decimals or anything, but I should be getting smaller numbers than that when I'm looking at my equations. That's a positive 5. So how's that going to change things? So that's going to make this into a positive 5, which is a 15. And so when I subtract 15 from both sides, I'm going to end up with a 6. So my y is going to be 3. And if my y is 3 and my x is a positive 5, into this equation over here, this is going to be a positive 5. Let me just, a positive 5. So that is a 15 that I'm going to subtract from both sides. So I get a 2. So I do apologize about that. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to get a 5, a 3, and a 2 as my answer. Okay. On 14. So on 14, I'm going to write the equations for each of these. So let's say my first equation, I am going to write it 2 is equal to, and again, we're plugging it into this equation right here. So when I put in my -3 for my x's, I'm going to get 2. That's a 2. Let me make sure my 2 looks like a 2 so that I don't mistake it for something else halfway through. Okay, that's a 2. And so it's going to be a 9a minus 3b plus c. My second equation is going to be 0 is equal to 4a minus 2b plus c. And my last one is going to be 6 is equal to, here, I'm going to change that color so that it doesn't, so that it doesn't blend in with this problem over here. Okay, so that was from here. Okay, so let's say I put in 6 is equal to, A plus B plus C. And we want to try to eliminate, I would eliminate C's from everything. And so I think I'm going to use the bottom equation and multiply the bottom equation by a -1. And so I am going to get for that a -6 is equal to -A minus B minus C. And that I'm going to use with the other two equations. So if I use the purple one, I'm going to get 2 is equal to 9A minus 3B plus C. And I'm going to use it with this one that I now wrote in black. -6 is equal to -A minus B minus C. And when I add these together, I am going to end up getting, and I'll write this in red. I am going to end up getting a -4 is equal to 8A minus 4B. Everything's divisible by 4 here, but let's just kind of see what happens in the other equation. So I'm going to take my orange one this time. So 0 is equal to 4A minus 2B plus C. And I am going to use the one I used in the other one. -6 is equal to -A minus B minus C. I'm going to add these up. Okay, I'll write this one in red also. I'm going to get -6 is equal to 3A minus 3B. So I can divide these by, I divide this one by 4. I am going to get -1 is equal to 2A minus B. And I'm thinking I'm going to divide this one not by 3, but by -3, so that I get a positive B. So if I divide by -3, I'm going to get a 2 is equal to -A plus B. And now I'm going to solve this system. Okay, this with this. And what's automatically going to happen in this case, and again, I'll put this kind of in a box, I'm going to solve this. When I take -1 is equal to 2A minus B, and 2 is equal to -A plus B, my B's are going to cancel out, and I'm going to get 1 is equal to A. So I got my A. So now I'm going to take that A and put it into either of the equations right up here. So if I'm going to find B, I think I'm going to put it into this one. So I'm going to be working out 2 is equal to -A, so that's a -1 plus B. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, so I get my B is 3. So I found my A and my B. And I'm going to go back up to the top and use either the purple, the orange, or the pink. I'm thinking the pink, okay? So I'm going to use the pink one. So I'm going to go 6 is equal to A, which is 1, plus B, which is 3, plus C. So that's going to be 4. So I'm going to get 2 is equal to C. And then we want to write our equation. And here I'm going to write our equation up here. Y is equal to A. So that's just x squared or 1x squared. And my B, so plus 3x plus 2. And that's our equation. So that's the end of that. Sorry, I ended up having this in 2 videos, and sorry I changed my signs on number 13. Guess I'm just trying to show you what not to do. Sorry about that. So hopefully this helps a little bit. Again, this assignment's going to be due by, let's see, we're going to have it for the next 2 block days. So it'll be due by Friday officially. Okay. And then you'll have another one on Friday.